Welcome to the Kumi Cherie podcast. I am Kish Kumi Price,
I am Dina Cherie.
and we are welcoming you back. I know the last time we left off, we talked about possibly digging into Dina's testimony or following up with an episode that we're excited about bringing to you all around grief. But we're going to pause on those two and bring you something that's kind of sitting heavy with us right now. So this episode is Arise, Beloved, I'm Coming. Okay. We shall get into it. I'll share our grounding scripture, and then Dina, if you want to fold in with some thoughts about why this is so important, especially now. So if you want to join in reading, we're reading from Isaiah chapter 40 and starting with verse 27. Israel, why then do you complain that the Lord doesn't know your troubles or care if you suffer injustice? Don't you know? Haven't you heard? The Lord is the everlasting God. He created all the world. He never grows tired or weary. No one understands his thoughts. He strengthens those who are weak and tired. Even those who are young grow weak. Young people can fall exhausted, but those who trust in the Lord for help will find their strength renewed. They will rise on wings like eagles. They will run and not get weary. They will walk and not grow weak. That was Isaiah chapter 40, verses 27 through 30, through 31. Is that right?
That's
Yes,
right, 31.
through 31.
Yeah. And so in other translations, I know you are familiar with those that wait, right? Because we've heard the scripture so many times, so you're familiar with, those that wait, those who wait on the Lord. And so, it's so interesting how God brings about a word for us and how he connects us, even when we have no idea how he's connecting us. And so, in petitioning the Lord for what he would have us to say today, it's just like, what do you have for the people? Right. Um, and immediately I just thought Jesus, the life of Jesus, right? The life of Jesus. So I said, well, let's just start in Luke 1. Let's see what's happening. Right. And we know that John the Baptist came first, right? Like Elizabeth got pregnant with him. She was barren. God blessed her. We know about Zechariah not believing the Lord, or the angel rather. And he wasn't able to speak till the baby was born, all those things, right? But Elizabeth is carrying John the Baptist. Why is John the Baptist important? Because he prepared the way for the Lord, right? He prepared the way. So that's why Elizabeth became pregnant before Mary, right? Prepared the way of the Lord. And so there is a process. Jesus is Jesus.
Right.
Jesus is Jesus, you all. Did he have to have the way prepared for him? Did that have to be the way? No, not really, right? But that is what God ordained to be. That's what he set forth, was for the way to be prepared for his son. And so who are we to think that the way doesn't have to be prepared for us, that there's not a waiting period, right? And so and so that's what pressed upon me, is that, you are, and I'll say I'm waiting for a multitude of things from the Lord, right? And not because I'm just creating things. This is things that God told me, either through a dream or a vision or whatever, like this is coming, right? And so we know that when God tells us something's coming, we look for it next week. We're looking for it in the mail. We are like, where is it? Because we are microwave generation, and we're used to getting things the way we want it, how we want it, the temperature we want it, all the good things, right?
Yes.
But we're waiting for the husband to find us. Men, you are waiting for the Lord to reveal your wife. You're waiting for your finances to get better. You're waiting for that call back for that job. You're waiting for your children, your wayward children, to come home. You're just waiting. You're waiting when, the pregnancy test will say that you're pregnant, right? You're waiting to get past a certain point in your pregnancy to signify that you'll carry the full term. We're all waiting for
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yes.
We're all
Yes.
waiting.
You
And
know, it's funny. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
go
It was
ahead.
a
No,
delay
go ahead.
again. No, I was just going to say it's funny that we are talking about this very thing. And it reminded me of something that happened recently because my car was broken into a while ago. And my purse was stolen, right? Don't ask me why. Like in my mind, I thought the purse was in the house with me. I didn't realize I had left it in the car, but somewhere in the midst of things, it was there. So someone had taken my bag, and it was a work bag actually. Taken the bag, had tried to take all the cards and everything out of it, and then some of the things had been returned to me by neighbors who knew where we lived, and hey, this was in the middle of the street. And so I had my wallet, and I thought most of my identification pieces I had and things. And at some point along the way, I had to use my social security card, and had I didn't think it was in my wallet, but it must have been because it wasn't with my documents in the house. So I'm like, okay, I need another social security card. I go to start that process, and when you check in, they give you a number. So I'm sitting down in this, you know how it is. Whenever you go to the DMV or Social Security, anything, it's like everybody and their mama is in there. So I'm
Right.
sitting there. I had brought something to read. So I'm reading. And a guy tapped me on the shoulder, and he's like, hey, did you make an appointment? And I said, no, I just showed up. I didn't make an appointment. And he was like, oh, okay. Because what we found out, obviously, the people who made appointments were prioritized, right? And then the numbers would show on the kiosk, so you knew when your time was coming. And so I
Yeah.
was like A125. I'm the last person that had come into the room, and it's a room full of people, right? So I'm only sitting there. I probably had read one page of my book, and then they called my number, and everybody kind of gasped, like how did she get her number called? And that's out of order. So the security officer had to explain to the whole room as I'm getting up, hey, people have different things that they're here for. And some things don't take a lot of time or are expedited or whatnot. So that's why the numbers won't be called in order. Okay, why is this important? Lord, this blessed me because it blessed me, first of all, because I did not want to be up in there long, right?
Right.
But when I heard him say that, and I just thought about, this is how we do life, and this is how we expect God to move, right? We expect it to be in order. We expect, comparing yourself with somebody else. Well, I've been doing this for this long, and I've been expecting this, and they just started that, and that happened to them, but it didn't happen to me yet, and I've been waiting on God. And you get discouraged. Like, you start questioning things, right? Like, is God hearing me? Has he heard my prayer? Does he know what I'm trying to, get accomplished here? Like, does he care? And that's what this passage
Right.
started with. It's like, oh, he knows your troubles. He knows everything. And
Yeah.
he's just saying, wait on me. Like, I'm coming for you. I already have it prepared. You can't look at what's logical when you're expecting me to move. You can't
Right.
think, oh, okay, we're at A105 and I'm at A125 from what I can tell. So I got to
Right.
wait for X amount of people to be called before it's my turn. That's not what is it. That's not how he moves. That's just
Right.
not how he moves.
And that's just it. I mean, I love that that happened and how God brought this together, because we certainly did not talk about that.
We did
Your
not.
testimony, but ain't it
We
good?
did not.
Um, but it made me think about time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kairos and Chronos, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Time. And so we are in Chronos, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a
Mm-hmm.
11 o'clock or so in the morning, right? That
Mm-hmm.
is not how God functions,
Exactly.
right? Time is just to be a blessing to us, to help us in the earth. That is
Yep.
not how he functions, right? And so when we think about God's going to be too late, or he's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
on time, or,
Mm-hmm.
he'll, I'm getting evicted. He's going to, you came too late. I've already been evicted. I've already lost the
Mm-hmm.
car. These things have already happened. You're too late. And it reminds me of a story, because there was a man that died. It was a good friend
Hey.
of Jesus. that died.
Yes, it was.
He died.
Yes.
And when he finally arrived to see Lazarus, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the Mary that came out and said, Lord, if you would have been here, you could have
Mm-hmm.
kept this thing from happening,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Distraught, upset, Jesus wept. That's what the
Yeah.
Bible said. He cried
Yeah.
over the death of Lazarus, right? But then what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Lazarus was resurrected. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't too late. There
Right.
was a thing that had to be done. There was a
Yes.
greater purpose. There was a greater thing to be seen,
Yes.
right? They need
Mm-hmm.
he had to die. Lazarus
Mm.
had to go through that process. He had to
Mm-hmm.
be wrapped up in burial clothes. He had to go through that process
Right.
because it wasn't about Lazarus.
There you go.
Just like your situation is not about you.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things in you. Listen, I feel like I'm gonna have to shout, so I'm gonna try to get it together because I'm preaching to you and I'm preaching to me. Okay, I'm preaching. And it's back and it's boomeranging. There's some things that have to die off in your waiting.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm.
some things that are active and alive right now that ain't gonna fly in this
Mm.
other season, this next level, the new plateau, whatever cliche thing we want to say. It's not gonna work there. It doesn't work there,
Mm-hmm.
y'all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's alive and well in you today. And it
Mm-hmm.
has to die off. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes the waiting is about that thing dying off in you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and, and so that you can be ready for your new
Mm-hmm.
season. Kishma,
Mm-hmm.
take it away.
Come on. Come on. I mean, and you know what we tend to, I mean, I know people make the reference of like the bag lady, right? Like when
Yeah.
you have all these things that you're carrying around with you, um,
Mm-hmm.
how do you have room? Like so there's certain things that I'll just say we're able to share these things, especially about this season, because we have been in a that whole text from the
Deep in
Israelites.
it.
Like I could have written that, right? Like, do you know what troubles I'm going through? Do you not see the injustices? Like, but to when you think about the things that he's saying, like when he's speaking through the word to us, and then you'll start hearing him speak to you directly. And he
Yes.
kept saying these words. I heard it, Dina heard it, make room, make room, make room. Well, what does that mean? Right? Like, so I began to see what he meant by that, right? Because
Yeah.
you got to clear out. You got to clear out things that are weighing you down. Like you have to
Yeah.
clear out the things that
Yes.
are not allowing you to rise, right?
Yes.
There's no way that you can keep weights on you, right?
Right.
The things that so easily come upon you, right? And weigh you down. You have to
Right.
be vigilant, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Vigilant, like about making sure dead weight is not a part of your journey
Right.
because it
And
determines how you move, right? It
yeah.
determines the rate, the speed in which you're able to move. And so as we say wait upon the Lord, but he's also waiting on us, right? He's waiting on us to do what we're supposed to do. We got to drop the weights so that we can make room for what's needed in our new
Right.
season.
Right. Because the Bible tells us, it's in Hebrews. I was pulling that up really quickly. Hebrews 12:1. Wherefore, seeing we are also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay
Mm-hmm.
aside every weight and the
Every
sin
weight.
that so
That's
easily besets us.
easily like just
Let us easy,
that. And
easy.
that's
Ooh,
why it
word.
says it's
Ooh,
easy. That's why it says it's easy because it's easy for the weight to get on you. It's easy for you to be in this season. We're recording this in December, right? This is December 4th. Is it the 4th today?
it's the fifth.
The 5th? Okay, the 5th. Let me get with the day. It's December 5th. And we're in this holiday season and
Yeah.
a lot of weights are on people, right? The weights of expectation, like to maybe you're the person that everybody relies on to get everything together and cook for the family and bring everybody together. Maybe you're thinking about all the things that you need to do, should be doing for your kids or for family members or whatever. Like
Right.
those are weights, right? You
Yeah.
you have weights of expectation, right? what we started off with. You've been
Right.
expecting these things and you hoped for. It's almost like this really stark contrast of, you begin to like compare years or time periods. So you're
Yeah.
like, at this time last year, I remember I was believing God for this and I still haven't gotten it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I hoped by this time I would have that thing, or I would be in a different space or a different place. And God is saying, but I'm still here and
Right.
I'm coming, right? Like the
Right.
way is being prepared. When you think
Right.
about this, I'm just going to back up a little bit. When we
Mm-hmm.
started talking about the fact that John the Baptist had to prepare the way for Jesus, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when Jesus actually appeared and came to John the Baptist, John the
Mm-hmm.
Baptist had to be ready to baptize Jesus, right? But he was so focused on the last season in which he was proclaiming that the
Right.
Christ was coming, that Jesus is coming, right? That he
Right.
was almost not ready for this new season in
Yeah.
which he was like, I'm not, you should be baptizing me. Like I'm not even worthy of
Right.
undoing your sandals. Like, you know what I mean? Like he had to get to the new season, right? And so
Yeah.
I guess I'm saying that because some of the weights that we need to drop are expectations that we've created that God was not a part of, right? Like some of the things, some of the desires, like it says that he will give us the desires of our heart. And I believe that that means not only does he bless you with the desires that you have, but he'll actually implant the desire into your heart, right? And so I think we have to like really do the hard work of asking God, like, is this still something you have for me? Like, has that season passed? Am I in a new season now? Should I be
Yeah.
believing you for something different? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that, and that's tough because you may be so headstrong and hell bent on this is what I
Yeah.
wanted. And he's
Yeah.
saying, I want you to be heaven minded. I want you to be
Yeah.
kingdom minded. And so
Right.
some of these things, maybe I do want that for you, but not right now.
Yeah.
That's not the plan for right now. And that's
Right.
tough to let that die, as you were saying, Dina, to let some of these dreams that are not God dreams to die. Like this isn't of
Die.
God. So I'm not in
Right.
it. So I can't, don't expect me to prepare the way for that because that's not what I have for you.
Right. And that's just it. I feel like I was actually going to say the very same thing about, you know, we are supposed to be praying, right? The heart of God. Well, how do we do
Mm-hmm.
that? Well, you have to read
Mm-hmm.
your Bible and you got to be in prayer and you got to have a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with Him so that
Mm-hmm.
He downloads within you what He has for you, what He wants for you, so that you can start praying that thing back to Him. Right. And
That's it.
so a lot of times,
Yes.
what we want is not what God wants for us, it's not what God
Mm-hmm.
has for us. And we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to surrender that thing to Him. We don't.
Oh,
And we get knocked up against our heads so many times. And
so
eventually, at
many
some
times.
point, you're like, okay, Lord, whatever
Oops
I got to
upside
do.
the head. Oops
Oops,
upside the head. And
upside
let
the
me
head so many times because He's like, I never wanted that for you. That is not for
never.
you.
And I I want to come against, and I don't even know why. This is probably the last thing I'm going to say on this podcast because this just came up so like heavy in my spirit that there are some people. I'm leaning towards saying women, but I think men do it too. But you have created in your mind a person, make
Hmm.
it an avatar, if you will, of who you think you're supposed to be with.
Yeah.
You hear me say that, and you probably think I'm talking about single people. I'm not just talking about single people. I'm also talking about those who are married, and you assume that your person is supposed to be a certain way, right?
Yeah.
This is how I think a lot of people get tripped up because you're trying to create the person in your mind. So you're expecting that. So some of you have already like counted out people who God have actually put before you and wants you to consider, right?
Yeah.
And it's your choice. Obviously, God's not going to put anybody on you, right? But I think even then we have to let those expectations, that list that you may have created that God wasn't in it, let that die. If you have a partner and you're literally like, you have this idea of what this person's supposed to be like, and they're not quite that,
Right.
that doesn't necessarily mean that God even put that there. That's something you've generated, right? Yeah, we pray
Right.
for the people around us. We pray for everybody to grow into their best selves. That we're praying that we are that image. We're emanating God's image, right?
Yeah.
And that's a process that happens over time. And so he's asking us to lay aside those weights, the weight of trying to control people, the weight of trying to assume, and this can expand to your kids, even, right?
Yeah.
I know a lot of parents
Absolutely.
have expectations that their kids are going to be a certain way or do certain things. Let that die so that the true glory of what God has for your child can really rise, because everybody's not meant to do the same things, right? We were created to be unique
Right.
individuals, and everybody's path won't look the same. And so we have to let some of these things that are just really, I mean, I'm hesitating on saying dumb, but dumb, die. Let dumb die, right? Because if it didn't come from God, and it says every good and perfect gift comes from God, let it die.
Yeah. That's just it. And it doesn't, like you said, it's funny because two things. When I'm in my 20s, right? I was single and I was like, my
Mm-hmm.
husband, this is after God had told me I was going to be a wife and a mother. So I'm like, where is he? And in my waiting, I decided I was going to create a list of 100 things, Tish.
100,
100.
100. Okay.
I took the
One
time out
zero
to create
zero.
a list of 100 things that I wanted my husband to be or to have characteristics.
Yes.
The list. Okay. One of those things, let me just tell you one thing on that list that I remember. One of those things was I wanted him to ride horses. Why? Why? Why?
See that? Wait. See, this is the crazy part. Is we will spiritualize that, right? We'll say, "Hey, God said be specific. I'm being specific. I want him to ride."
Of course. I don't even know why. I have never been
Wow.
on a horse. I've never been in
Wow.
close. Listen, there was a desire, like, ooh, riding a horse seems fun. Seems like that'd be something. So I want him to ride a horse. I like that's not even anything I do. I don't
Everybody
get
that got
around.
counted out.
That's not my lifestyle. Why does he have to know how to ride a horse to be with me? Does that make you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? That
Because
don't even make
Jesus
no
rode
sense.
even on a donkey, so maybe it
Listen,
was the.
listen, let dumb die. Okay? That was dumb. And I don't even know why. And
Oh my
so
gosh.
and I had to laugh, right? Because as life goes on, because I like to keep stuff, and so I think it's finally gone. But I went back one day, and I was like, "Look at this crazy list."
I mean, Dina, this is
Here's the
what
thing: there were
I'm
some things
saying.
on there
You're not
were
the only
like
one. You're not
non-negotiables,
alone. Do
right?
know that.
Right? There's some non-negotiables, right?
Right.
But those
Right.
non-negotiables were I probably like 5 to 10 maybe, and I don't even know if it was that much, right? And I was like, no wonder God didn't show up because what?
Oh,
What?
oh gosh.
Here's the thing.
That
You
is
want to know the funny
hilarious.
thing is? Now, years later, I'm actually allergic to horses. I can't even be around them. How about that?
You see?
I'm
You see?
actually allergic to horses.
I can't. Well, I'll tell you. So it's funny because I had a similar list. Not, and it
Hmm.
wasn't before I got married the first time, but after I got a divorce, I was like, okay, maybe I got this wrong because I wasn't
Mm,
like specific in my
right.
prayers. Like, let me
Yeah.
just make sure it's all there. But I was petty. Like, my list was super petty because it was literally like, I was like, okay, everything that he is, was that I didn't like or whatever, I'm adding that to this list. And
Oh, yeah.
so I had stuff on there that didn't even like, I'll give an example. One of them was he can't be a coach. Like, it wasn't just what he could be, it's what he can be. So I said he cannot,
Right.
absolutely cannot be a coach. Well, guess what? My husband is a coach. And if I had used that, and I did in the beginning, like I paused on even getting to know him when I found out that he was a
Right.
coach because of that. I was like, mm-mm, can't be it. You can't be the one because that you can't be sent of God because of that. And that's a huge thing for me. But then God had to do a real like open your eyes, Kish, for me,
Right.
because I realized that's from your pain. You know, like that, where I'm not in that. I never
Right.
said that this was the reason or no, that's a part of the pain speaking, and pain can turn into
Right.
petty real quick. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Oh yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
if you're not understanding that there's pain that can turn into
Mm-hmm.
petty, that will keep you
Yeah.
from purpose, that is real. And so that let die, dumb die, or get rid of the petty stuff is so important because it is on the other side of that is purpose, is destiny. And so we have to be aware of that and do that work, because if we don't,
Yeah.
we're blocking our own blessings. You're like waiting upon the
Yeah.
Lord, and he's like, I can't even get what I'm trying to get to you because you haven't gotten over your mess.
Yeah. Yeah. And you haven't surrendered yourself to me. And on a
Mm-hmm.
very, very serious note, I was sitting here and because a lot of this is the root of this is about control. You want to control.
There it is.
You want to be in control of when God comes through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're looking at things happening in the chronos. You're like, hey, if you don't come through right now, this is not going to
Right.
work, right? And
Right.
so anything that you put above God is idolatry.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're seeking God for that husband, that wife, and you are
Mm-hmm.
like, come through God, and you're so focused on that and you're not really looking to Jesus. You're only looking to him to bring it through, but everything else you're not seeking him about, right? That's
Right.
idolatry.
That's it.
You're worshiping the soon to be husband, the soon to be wife, right? If
Mm-hmm.
all you can focus on is becoming pregnant or having the baby or whatever it is, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, it's idolatry.
And
It's
that's tough to
becoming,
hear, but it's real. Yeah.
but it's real, and
Mm-hmm.
but here's the thing. It ain't new. The children of Israel, right? How many times? Hey, here's a calf over here, and here's this golden such and such. Every time you look around, was erecting something. You know what I mean? So this is
Yes.
not a new thing. This is something
Yep.
that we
Yep.
as a people are challenged with, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to surrender that. We also have to repent,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? We have to turn away from that, right? Because
Mm.
he said, you will not have any gods before me. I am
Mm.
jealous over you. Who you worshiping a what? A
Yes.
husband, right? A
Yes.
wife, a baby, a
Yes.
job, an apartment, a
Yes.
house, a car. What for why?
And,
Because what does it do?
and what does it do? And that's the fact. I mean, I feel like when you hear those stories about erecting a golden calf and whatever, you're like, huh? Like what
Why?
was going on in
Right.
their minds to do that,
Yeah.
right? But we are essentially doing the same things. We're erecting these things, these people, these ideas, these, thoughts of what we, want to have
Yeah.
above God. Like when you
Yeah.
start seeking that or chasing that more than him, then that's
Right.
obvious. That's what it is. It's idolatry. And
Right. It
I
is.
mean, it's something that I think we've strayed away from in terms of like understanding what that is and what it looks like and
Yeah.
calling it out for what it is. But
Yeah.
that's the truth of the matter. If at any point in time you turn your back away from God because you're mad about something he didn't give you or do for you, that means that thing has more power in your life than God does, because you're
Right.
willing to take your frustrations about not getting that thing and distance yourself from your God, your
Right.
creator, your
Right.
protector,
Which
your
also
provider,
means
your healer.
that when that comes through, right, you get that thing, you're also turning
Hmm.
away because you got it now. And that was the thing that you
Right.
were worshiping to begin with. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And here's
And
the
may be
thing,
the very
we
reason why you don't have it.
help
Because God
somebody.
is an all knowing God.
That's just it. He knows your heart. He
Yeah.
knows. He knows
Yep.
if you have this thing. He knows what y'all's relationship is going to look like afterwards, right?
Yep.
So that so
Yep.
there so more preparation has to be done. Your heart has
Hmm.
to be. needed and massaged a little bit more, right? Because he
Mm-hmm.
desires to have a relationship. It's like if you're a parent or you have a relationship with anybody, right? Like you tight, right? Like
Mm.
you just want to talk to them. You just want to, what's
Yes.
going on with you? How you been,
Yes.
right?
Just
And it would
fellowship.
hurt you. It would hurt you if nothing happened and all of a sudden that
Mm-hmm.
person didn't want to talk to you. That person was not
Mm-hmm.
around. That person, you'd be like, what happened? What
But they reach out when
I've
they
been
need something.
they
Yeah.
reach out when they need something. Y'all know how we
Yeah.
are. Don't
Yes.
don't call me and you ain't even said hi, bye, nothing, and asking me for
Nothing.
something. Don't do it. That's how we are, right? And here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing about God. He like when we call upon him, right, and are in the truth,
Mm.
he's not going to turn away from us. But he
Mm.
wants to be in relationship with us. And there is
Mm-hmm.
nothing greater than who he is in our lives. There should be
Mm.
nothing greater. And so I feel like, this is not a one-time thing. This is a weekly, monthly, daily, hourly. You got to check yourself to
Mm-hmm.
see what is superseding above God, above who
Yes.
he is.
Yes.
Ask yourself, if I get this thing that I'm petitioning God for, will I still pray like I'm praying? Will I,
Mm-hmm.
will I fast the way I'm fasting? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
something to fast when things is going well.
Yes.
You
True.
know what I'm saying? People
True
go into
story.
a fast when it's like, oh my gosh, this thing had happened, and I need to hear from God, and you break into a fast. You break it into fast and
Yes.
prayer. You prostrate. But what is it to fast when you're like, everything's fine. I'm just maintaining. These
Mm-hmm.
are preventative measures. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
This is a,
Exactly.
my daughter has asthma, which we're praying for healing from. But back in the day, she used to have a preventative inhaler and a rescue inhaler. And many
Mm.
times, right, the preventative was a daily thing. You take that thing daily, right? And then when something would
Nice. Yeah.
happen in the spur of the moment, you need the rescue. And many of us
Mm-hmm.
have Jesus in the rescue category.
Mm.
We don't have him in the preventative. We don't have him as a daily maintenance. Listen,
My God. Listen.
listen.
Hey,
Here's the thing. He can be both in. He
come
is both
on.
in. He's
He
the preventative
is.
and he's the rescue. And here's the thing.
Hello.
If he was more on the preventive side, you may not need him to rescue you so much because you've been spending
Hello.
so much time in the preventative.
Yes. My God. Listen. Come on. Ah, listen, well, we hope that you have gathered something from this. Um, I do believe this may be one of the episodes we may have some overflow that we will share at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah. Because I
But
didn't even know the time. I didn't even know.
yes, I mean, but we want to encourage you all, like, make
Yeah.
sure that you understand that he is in this with you.
Yes.
And if he said he's doing it, he's doing it. He's already doing
He's
it.
coming.
He's already done it. Okay.
Yeah.
So just wait on him. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's
He's
coming. It's coming.
coming. But
So
be
we just
productive in your waiting.
in your waiting. There you go. So really quickly, we just pray that you all continue to walk in strength, walk
Yes.
in courage, walk in faith, knowing that God will do what he said he will do, and
Yes.
immerse yourselves in the word. Continue to pray, continue to praise, continue to expect. And we look
Yes.
forward to seeing you next time,
Yes.
whether it's the overflow or our next episode.
Yep.
Please like, share, subscribe. If this bless you, please pass it on to somebody else because somebody else may need
Absolutely.
it just like you did, or maybe you didn't and they need it. Okay. All
He
right.
gonna
So
need it
thank you so much.
eventually.
We
It'll come
will.
around.
It's coming. It's coming. All right. Till next time, guys. Kumi Cherie.
Bye. Kumi Sheree.